Hello, Bay Area, and welcome to this week's episode of The Big Money Show, brought to you by the team of Big Financial Services. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and joining me is the president of Big Financial Services, Glenn Cummings. We've got a great show for you this weekend. We are going to be talking about taxation in retirement. Are you ready for it? So, Glenn, are you ready for it?
All I can say is, let's go, Kristen.
Yes.
We're going to go after that IRS problem that we have. None of us like taxes. None of us like taxes.
No. And we don't want people to pay more than they are legally required to pay in taxes. That's the key. We're not talking about tax evasion here. But the problem is a lot of folks aren't even aware of what their potential tax liability might be in retirement. And the good news is there's some proactive steps folks can take even now to be better prepared so that they're not paying more than they have to pay.
Absolutely. You know, it's so funny. I go to these large CPA conventions and went to one recently in Las Vegas. And the director or the main speaker, all he was talking about is how all these CPAs and all these, tax attorneys are simply focusing on people's tax problems today, not the problems in the future.
Right.
And not that that's their job, but it really isn't their job. Their job is to get all those tax returns done, make their money, get everything filed, and go on to the next client. This is what happens. But when you're talking about financial planning and you're talking about income and taxation in the future, none of us believe. Do you believe the taxes, folks, are going to go down in the future, or do you think they're going to go up? I think they're going to go up, right? So if you know that's possibly going to happen, what can I do today to make sure that down the road I don't have a lot of these tax problems? And one of the things I like to share with clients, as well as the CPA convention mentioned, is not enough people are doing Roth conversions, getting out of these old IRAs that are fully taxable in retirement at ordinary income rates. And what a lot of people don't realize as well is, if I'm married filing jointly, I pay less taxes generally, a lower tax bracket. But what happens if for some reason my spouse passes away? Now, I'm a single taxpayer, right? So what is it trying to force me to go get remarried really quickly to save on taxes? No, I know I'm making a joke of that. But the reality of it is that taxes are always a problem in retirement. And most advisors don't focus on that. We spend a lot of time making sure that we sit down with folks and we sit down with their CPAs, their tax attorneys, to try to devise plans and share different ideas. And a lot of business I get is from those CPAs because they're like, golly, we've never actually run a tax analysis to help with this Social Security tax problem in the future. We've never actually seen what a true Roth can do, which a Roth generates tax-free income as long as you've owned the Roth for a minimum of 5 years, okay? Many Americans now in 401ks are able to do Roth contributions. That's awesome. I always recommend maxing that out. And also converting over time to try to go into those Roths. So the word Roth, basically, in my opinion, is just tax-free, okay? It's tax-free, and I like tax-free income, and that's a lot of times people don't even understand how Roths work or Roth conversions work. So we always recommend sitting down with a professional that can help you understand those.
For sure, and you mentioned so much good stuff there, and we're gonna unpack all of this. I wanna go back to when you were saying how a lot of folks have all this money saved up in these tax-deferred plans, right? Your workplace retirement plan, maybe it's a 401k or a 403b, 457, TSP. One of the most frustrating things, Glenn, is that back when these accounts were first created and the burden of saving retirement was placed on our shoulders once they did away with pensions and were moving more to these defined contribution plans, we were told that this was a really good thing for us because you're going to put the money in now, you'll get a tax break this year that you make the contribution. The money's going to grow tax deferred, and then supposedly once you're in retirement, you'll be in a lower tax bracket, and when you take the money out, then you won't have to pay as much tax. But is that really what is happening for most folks today?
So I love the opportunity for tax deferring my money, okay? But I don't just have to use a qualified plan to do that. I can use a non-qualified annuity. Non-qualified annuities offer tax deferral. Roths offer tax deferral. IRAs, 401ks also offer tax deferral. So I like tax deferral because it allows my money to grow a lot bigger, which the more money we have in retirement, the better.
Right.
But the problem with qualified plans is when you put that pre-taxed contribution, and yes, you're correct, it'll help you with your taxes today.
Right.
But once it grows and grows and grows, and a lot of people weren't aware how large these accounts can get. And then they reach this ripe old age of required minimum distributions, and now they're forced to take these big chunks of money out of these accounts, and they are fully taxable. The other problem as well is that if I have an IRA and I pass away and my spouse receives it, she's now inheriting my tax bill.
Right.
Right.
Your
She's
tax
inheriting
bomb.
my
right?
tax problem, right?
Yep.
And then the other thing is they used to have this thing called a stretch provision, which a stretch provision said upon me passing away and my spouse passing away, that my daughters could inherit the IRA. They can stretch it out till their retirement years, right? It's where they're in a lower tax bracket, supposedly.
Right.
And then start taking distributions. So it should help them grow the money and be less reduced for taxes in the future.
Right.
But that's gone, Kristen. It's gone. Now, when my daughters inherit my IRA, they're required to liquidate that entire IRA over a 10-year period, probably at the highest tax rates that they could have, because my daughters are still going to be probably in their highest wage earning years.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't like taxes, right? Especially going to my daughters, especially going to my family, especially me dealing with it or my clients dealing with it. I do not like taxes. Anyway, like you said, we can legally reduce them. The tax code's a book this thick. Many folks don't understand all the different tax laws and ways you can save taxes. We love to share those with clients, and a lot of clients are blown away. Yeah.
I bet. And I think that that's the tragedy too, when folks think, oh, I have all this money that I've accumulated in something like a traditional IRA. I'm going to pass on this gift to my children. What they don't realize is that they could inevitably be passing on a ticking tax time bomb, right?
Sure is.
Because then the tax burden gets passed to them, like you shared in that example.
Yeah, you can imagine if I'm in one of the higher wage earners, and say my parents, okay, are sick and ready to pass away,
right,
and I'm earning a certain amount of income between my spouse and I, and all of a sudden I inherit this large amount of money, and it pushes me into another tax bracket, and I'm required to liquidate that entire IRA over 10 years.
Yeah.
What I would rather do is I would try to get rid of that tax bomb now, right? Because there's so many ways of doing it through Roth conversions, and it's very important to work with a professional that specializes in that. It's important to work with your CPA and your tax attorney to share the planning that we do and make sure that in the future you're not going to have these huge tax problems, because it affects everything for you, especially your income. And none of us want to get taxed on our Social Security.
Right.
I mean, how mad. I have people coming to my office all the time.
I'm sure.
And they're so mad because they're paying so much tax on their Social Security. And they're like, wait a minute, I've worked all these years and contributed to this my entire life, and now I'm being taxed heavily just because I made more money and I saved and all my other friends didn't.
Right.
Yeah. So let's see if there's a way we can help reduce those.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to share all the planning we do on this television show. We're just sharing a few highlights, Kristen, but when you come into my office and you sit down with me and you see the planning that we do, you're going to be blown away. Period. You're going to be blown away, and you're going to say, gosh, that's a really simple thing. Why didn't I ever learn this before? A lot of people like to use me for free advice. Come on into the office. I don't charge a consultation fee ever to sit down with folks and do strategy sessions and share with them different ideas. Call the office, get scheduled, come in, and let's see if we can help you folks. Absolutely.
Well, I know there's something you're so passionate about, and I'm excited for more folks to connect with you as well. So if you're out there watching and you're going, yeah, I know I'm sitting on a ticking tax time bomb, or maybe this has really resonated with you and you're going, you know what, I've never engaged in the strategic tax planning process. Maybe you're already working with another advisor, but they are not having these kinds of conversations with you. It's time to get a second opinion. And so what Glenn and the team of Big Financial Services would love to offer you is the opportunity to come in and receive your very own complimentary written financial plan. To claim yours, simply call 888-503-7408. Or if you have your smartphone handy, you're also welcome to pull that out. If you open up that camera app, you can point, click, and scan the QR code that you see there down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That will take you over to a landing page, ask you a few short, simple questions, and then a member of the team from Big Financial Services will reach out to connect with you to schedule your complimentary meeting that way as well. Don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more to get into regarding taxation in retirement right after this.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision, so why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
Welcome back to the Big Money Show, where today we are talking about taxation in retirement. Are you ready for it? I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and I'm joined by Glenn Cummings. He is the president of Big Financial Services. And gosh, the show started off with a bang. We've been talking about the ticking tax time bomb that most folks are sitting on and may not even be aware of. One of the things that makes this such a time-sensitive conversation is where we are given tax rates today in our country's history. Can you shed some light on why this is such a time-sensitive conversation?
Well, many of us have no idea that from 1932 to 1982, I think the highest tax brackets were 70+% for all of those years, right? Yeah. And we're so lucky that our taxes are so low today. But a lot of things can change. And I look at taxes, especially when it comes to our retirement, which is 401ks, IRAs. I look at that as we talk about a tax bomb. It's not really a tax bomb. It's a big problem for us. I look at it as a silent partner in a business, okay? So today, if I've got, say, $1 million and I want to go ahead and move that money or just pay the taxes on it, I've got a silent partner. It's about 37, 39% of that business, right? Now, if I know that that business is going to grow over time, and I know that my silent partner likes to spend money out of control, which is our government, right? Things keep going up, you know, the debt keeps going up. When is the best time to get rid of that silent partner? Today, or when your IRA doubles 10 years from now? Now you have, instead of a $370,000 tax problem, you've got a $640,000, $650,000, $700,000 tax problem that you, your spouse, your kids are going to inherit. So with a Roth conversion, a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people say, well, Glenn, do I have to pay the taxes when I convert? Yes, you have to pay the taxes, but you have to do it systematically, okay? Some folks can do it one lump sum and just pay all the taxes and get rid of the taxes now. Some people can do it over a period of time. You know, you want to make sure you don't go into the next tax bracket.
Right.
So Roth conversions are very tricky. That's why you need a professional. You just don't do it on your own. You need a professional and you need a tax person as well, which is always what I recommend, okay? Another thing, though, when it comes to Roth conversions is that they don't have contribution limits like contributing to a Roth.
Yes, this is an important misconception, so I'm glad we're talking about this.
Yeah, very big misconception, because I've sat down with folks and they're like, golly, I never knew I could do a Roth at this time because I can only, you know, put $5,000 or $6,000 a year, whatever my limits are. And of course, those change every year depending on the government, right?
Or I earn too much money, I can't even contribute to a Roth, right?
Yeah, I make too much money, I can't even contribute to a Roth. How can I do what you're saying, Glenn? And I explain, no, this is a Roth conversion, right? And it's a very simple process to do with our team and our staff because we have it all in a report. We show you, hey, look, if you do it today, in the future, this is your tax benefits by doing it now and systematically getting out of these IRAs. Or if you don't do it, here's how big the tax problem is going to be for you in the future, right? And all these are just scenarios. You know, we can look at scenarios in the future with less tax, or we may look at futures, you know, in the future, higher tax, and you can see all of those numbers and figures. And it's a daunting thing to realize, my gosh, I've got a big tax problem here and I need to fix it. And a lot of us, like I said, we sit there, we see how much money we have saved, we're excited, everything's good, we feel comfortable in our retirement, but we don't realize those taxes really affect our income, our families, our Social Security, our Medicare.
Yes.
Everything is affected, Kristen. And that's why you need to sit down with a professional that focuses on trying to help you with future tax problems rather than just your tax problems today.
Right. It's so important to look ahead into the future. And you mentioned Medicare. I'm glad you brought this up too, because a lot of folks aren't aware of the 2-year look back. And so, you know, let's say someone did a Roth conversion on their own, maybe didn't know what they were doing, took out too much, bumped themselves in a higher tax bracket. Well, guess what? There's a 2-year look back, something called IRMA, that income related monthly adjustment amount. Sometimes folks then end up with these higher Medicare premiums and they have no idea why. Well, it's because of a decision that they made 2 years prior that could have been handled better from a tax perspective.
Absolutely, and I have that all the time too. Folks come in and they're like, Glenn, this person that did this conversion for me didn't do it right, you know? So sit down with a professional. That's what we're here to do. Sit down with you, review what you have, share different ideas. Now, here's the other thing too. Not every client should do a Roth conversion. That's also something really important as well, okay? So, you know, you may not have enough in an IRA to justify doing a Roth conversion. That could be one scenario. You may have already taken your IRAs and turned it into a pension or into an annuity that provides you a guaranteed monthly income the rest of your life. You can't convert it then, right? Because you're already getting income and receiving that. So all of you are in different situations. And like I said before, my experience, I've done this many, many years, it's to sit down and look over what you have and try to develop the best plan to help you on a tax basis for sure.
For sure. Well, I know you do this a lot. You do this day in and day out for folks. Is any story, recent story, you know, pop out to you now as we're having this conversation of someone who was an ideal candidate for a Roth conversion and what that did for them as a result?
So ended up having one of our events, and a gentleman came up to me and, you know, he just gave me a huge hug and out of nowhere. And he said, you know, Glenn, he goes, I said, do I know you, sir? And he goes, well, I know you. And he goes, and you have changed my wife and I's life. Like, why is it? Well, we went to one of your events, you know, a few years ago, and you talked about these Roth conversions, and you know, I had a certain amount of money in my Roth. You know, it was a couple $1 million at the time. And I did all the numbers and the figures on my own. And, you know, I realized that when I reached a certain age, I was going to be forced to take distributions from this account. And I had pension income. I was okay. And I really didn't want to be forced to take this money and have all this tax problem in the future. So he went to a CPA. A CPA says, you're crazy to liquidate that $2 million, you know, to move it to a Roth.
So it was in a traditional IRA at the time.
Traditional IRA. And, but to liquidate the entire IRA is a big tax bill. It puts them in a $2 million tax bracket, 39%, you know, $700,000 in taxes. Went to his advisor. His advisor says, you're crazy to do that, right? He did it anyway. And when he did it, about $1.3 million was left over after he paid the tax bill. That $1.3 million today is doubled.
Wow.
Okay?
And it's tax-free.
And now every distribution, everything he takes out of that account is tax-free. So I'm not saying that's kind of an extreme way of doing things, but he's like, I don't want to affect my modified adjustment gross income. I don't want to affect that for the next 10 years by doing this systematically. I just rather pay the IRS now, keep my money invested in the market, and let's see where this thing goes.
Watch it grow. Wow.
Yeah. So very, very awesome. Yeah. And, you know, it's pretty incredible. But, you know, like I said before, folks, you know, you're hearing us here on the television today, and, you know, we don't want you just to listen to what we're saying and go do this on your own, okay, like the other client did, okay? We don't want you to do that. Come in and sit down with us and look over what we have, and we're going to give you things to take home and consider. So we always recommend, you know, be careful out there, because sometimes people will do that. That's what this client did. His situation turned out good. Sometimes it may not turn out good. So make sure you sit down with us before you do that and make those kind of financial decisions. But his worked out very well for him.
Absolutely. It's so important to know what options are available and then figuring out the right strategy for you. And what's right for you might not be right for your neighbor or your brother or your sister. This is your individual situation, and there's no one-size-fits-all approach. That's why there's no substitute for really sitting down in the financial planning environment and figuring out if something like a Roth conversion could be right for you. So we encourage you to pick up the phone and call 888-503-7408 to receive your very own complimentary written financial plan. Or again, you're also welcome to scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. When we come back, we're going to continue this important conversation of planning for your taxes in retirement right after this.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carol and 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there or be square. Happy birthday to you. You can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to the Big Money Show, where today we are discussing taxation in retirement, and are you ready for it? I'm Kristen Oakley here with Glenn Cummings. And Glenn, you know, we've been talking a lot today about the money that folks have saved up in these tax-deferred qualified accounts, which is where the majority of Americans have the bulk of their wealth saved up.
Absolutely.
And we've uncovered what that tax problem is. There's another tax problem brewing that a lot of folks aren't aware of, and it stems from the fact that we've been in a higher interest rate environment for a while now. Can you shed some light on why that's creating a tax problem that a lot of people aren't even aware of?
Yeah, so what a lot of people aren't aware of is that, geez, 10, 15 years, we've had very low interest rates until recently, right? So if you have your money in the bank, you were lucky to make 1%, right? So that interest that you earned on that non-qualified account. So non-qualified is non-IRA, folks, just to give you a heads up. It's cash in the bank, right? That non-qualified money, if you made 1%, you are taxed as ordinary income on those interest earnings, right? So now, you know, the banks are paying a lot higher than that now. So now you're receiving a lot higher taxable income on those interest earnings. And I had a lady come in the other day, and literally by earning more interest on her current CDs that she had in the bank, it put her into another tax bracket.
Wow.
And now she's getting taxed on her Social Security, and she's mad at her, you know, mad at the bank. She's mad at everyone. And she's just very upset. And I said, you know, there's an opportunity out there where if you still want to have something that provides you a fixed rate of return for a period of time, look at a fixed annuity, right? You can look at a 2, 3, 4, 5. They have some that are 10-year fixed annuities that'll give you a guaranteed rate of return for a period of time, very similar to a CD.
Right.
But the difference is that that money that is inside of that tax-deferred annuity is tax-deferred. So you're not paying taxes on those interest earnings until you withdraw those interest earnings at some point in time in the future. So another client that said, Glenn, that's great. But say I pick out one of these fixed annuities for the next 5 years and I grow all of this money, and at the end of it, I'm going to be taxed? No, I can actually 1035 exchange that annuity to another annuity that also grows tax deferred. So I can continue to grow these things tax deferred. And the benefit is, if it's a non-qualified account, I'm not required to take those required minimum distributions. So it's a way to really grow your money. And also, there's a Florida statute 222.14, that states, as a resident of the state of Florida, if you own an annuity contract, there also could be some protections there from creditors and lawsuits. right? So if your money's just sitting in a bank account somewhere, or it's sitting in a CD, you could be susceptible to lawsuits. And I don't know about you folks, but driving in the studio today, number one, I didn't know that this red tie, you were wearing a red one either, okay? We're talking about taxes today and I wear a red tie. This is awesome. But but on my way here to the studio, I mean, so many people were swerving in and out of traffic. All it takes is you bumping somebody and somebody gets injured. Next thing you know, you're getting sued. So if you can protect your money through, say, a fixed annuity, that's a pretty nice opportunity to not only get that guaranteed rate of return from that insurance company. Of course, whenever we look at insurance companies, we want to look at their ratings and how long they've been in business. We want to make sure we make the best decision there and do the research before you do that, just like a bank or anyone else. But yeah, those tax deferred abilities, especially with non-qualified accounts, can help you with that tax problem on that money that's sitting in the bank.
And then what happens to that money if you were to leave that to your heirs once you pass away?
That's a great question. They're named as beneficiaries. So with them being named as beneficiaries, there's absolutely no probate, which means it doesn't go through a court process. They'd have some taxes to pay upon you passing away, but they can inherit that money directly through a beneficiary transaction. It goes directly to the kids. The kids love it.
So there's no stretch IRA, like the same with the stretch IRA provision.
There's no stretch IRA provisions.
There's not that.
No.
But the 10-year, when they changed them, when they did away with the stretch IRA provision and they went to the 10 years you have to liquidate, that doesn't apply to these.
Does not apply. So it could be a little bit bigger tax issue in the future for the kids. But while you're still in retirement, you can defer those taxes, which means there's going to be a lot more money hopefully in the future.
Right. Gosh, so much goes into this. I think of this on the show every week that we're together, Glenn, that how you make a decision in one area of your financial life can and will affect all the others. That's why you have to look at things from that comprehensive, holistic point of view, right?
Yes, absolutely. And we'd love to have everyone have those plans, and it's a pretty awesome process to sit down and go through it.
For sure. And to help folks create greater tax efficiency throughout their full financial plan. That's what we've really talked about today.
Absolutely.
Yes, well, good. Well, and for folks who are newer to you, just remind them where your office is located.
So our office is located in Tampa. If you know where I-4 and 75 is, that's where our office is located. It's located in the Highland Oaks. It's just a beautiful, beautiful Class A building. We've got these beautiful oaks all around. My office has got a nice little corner view. We have a fresh cup of coffee when you come in. It's just awesome. Yeah, come on in. Got a big screen, share some great things with you, and looking forward to meeting each and every one of you that likes to set up a time with us.
Wonderful. Well, Glenn, thank you so much. Always a joy to be
Kristen.
with you. And thank you for joining us. Again, if you want to know what your potential tax bill might be in retirement and what steps you can be taking now to mitigate it, we encourage you to pick up the phone and call 888-503-7408, or you can also scan that QR code to get connected as well. We love you, Tampa Bay. Thanks so much for being here. We look forward to being back with you next week here on The Big Money Show.